let's get this thing on the road. So good morning, or afternoon, everybody. Sorry. Just got up from my nap now. Welcome, call the meeting to order. And I've been told all alternates can vote. So there we go. Time out. Oh. Okay. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So first thing I need is approval of the agenda for do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Yep, David Jolinek here, happy to do so.
All right, Dave, would you second?
I will second happily.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No opposed. All right. All right, very good. Next thing, public comment. Anyone have any online or otherwise have any public comments for items not on the agenda? Not seeing any hands online and no one in the room. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 1st meeting?
Larry Tobias approved the minutes of the April 1st, 2026 meeting.
Do we have a second? All right, thank you, Rick. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Not seeing any or hearing any. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Lisa, monthly financials.
Lisa Corey, Finance Manager for the PPRTA. The sales and use tax and reporting is for the month of February. We received 12,135,840, which is above the monthly budget by 1,674,537, or 16%. February 26 revenues are above February 25 by 1,094,524, or 9.9%.
Those are awesome numbers. Does anybody have any input onto what caused that big jump?
Well, February really was higher, but some of that is December and January were missing some interest from the DOR report. So once they release the report, they don't restate it. So it was all captured.
Oh,
in
okay.
February.
Okay. Well, that's still a good number. Let's see it that high again next month. Maybe we'll have a good paving season this year.
I hope so.
Can hope, right? All right. All right, item number 6, capital maintenance and public transportation contracts, City of Colorado Springs. Gail?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the CAC, Gail Sturdivant, City Engineer and Deputy Public Works Director for Colorado Springs. Today, the city is bringing 10 contracts for your approval and 11th for informational purposes. Jumping right in, the first contract is for the Circle Drive Bridge Replacement Project. This is a PPRTA 2 A-list project. There's a map included in your packet. This construction change order is solely being funded by Colorado Springs Utility in the amount of $2,362,179.42. And this is for water line work there in proximity to the bridge. Originally, this work was going to be done in conjunction or at the same time the bridge was being done. But because of some redesign requests, it ended up being delayed. And so they're just now going to be adding this work into the project. The city's second contract is for another PPRTA 2 A-list project. This is for the Union Pacific Railroad Bridge over Fontanero. There's also a map included in your packet. This is for engineering services with HCR to basically finally have come to an agreement on a design alternative with the railroads. So this is really to finish the design documents associated with that bridge replacement of its on the A list for there.
Question, Gail, and your description answered one of mine, and that was the height and lowering by, so they mentioned they were gonna move the secondary track over.
Yeah, we're actually going to move it up. We're not moving it over.
Okay, I was going to say, because that requires going out a little ways to realign it.
Yeah, well, we've been going through a plethora of options throughout the last few years. One of which, when we originally were looking at the design, is when the Constitution extension was envisioned. When that didn't happen, we actually had to go back and change a bunch of things as well. And then we had still been in this alternative analysis about how we're going to bypass rail traffic during construction. So we've been trying to come up with skinnier bridge footprint at the same time figuring out how to get it constructed. I think we've actually come up with a really good solution.
Good, good. I was always skeptical of that height because it's already a low height to begin with in there.
Well, so the Centennial and Fontanero as it goes underneath there is actually going to be lower. We started lowering that with the Centennial project, but with the bridge height, it's there for the mainline bridge. We'll be able to keep the track height, and we're going to shallow the bridge section. And then on the siding bridge, if it has to be reconstructed at the same time, it actually was lower. So we're going to bring it up to the same height as the mainline bridge.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
City's third contract is for a PPRTA 3 A-list project. This is the Fillmore Bridge Replacement Project. There's a map included in your construction package. This contract is to bring on a CMCG or construction manager, general contractor on board for pre-construction activities to assist the design team in some more alternatives analysis as we continue to advance this project. The city went through first an information request for information where we had 3 respondents come and participate, and then we had an RFP where we had 2 proposals to consider, and Kramer was deemed to be the most qualified to provide these services. This contract puts our initial contract in place with Kramer North America in the amount of $475,000. I will note on your memo, one clerical correction on the memo, the account number ends in an 8 and it should have ended in a 9. That will be updated in the board packet, but I wanted to share that with you verbally.
Okay.
The city's 4th and 5th contracts are both for Colorado Avenue. Colorado Avenue is part of the PPRTA 3 A-list projects. There are maps included with both these contracts. It's the same map. This is to initiate 2 contracts to get work done for the demonstration project that we've mentioned previously. The first contract with Seal Coat Solutions would do a slurry seal, striping and flexible delineators to help show the future roadway configuration of Colorado Avenue. That's in the amount of $268,425. And then the 5th contract is for construction services with C&B Electric. And this is for the installation of the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. I showed pictures of those before in previous meetings at mid-block crossings. So there's 3 that are going to be planned in the demonstration project to be able to help pedestrians, transit users, and bikes across Colorado Avenue safely. And that's in the amount of $107,780.
Gail, question on the whole Colorado thing. So, you're gonna paint the new lanes prior to doing a lot of the other work and widening, so we get traffic flowing. Is that what I read?
Yes, and I think we had a long discussion about this last meeting, so let me just kind of back up. So there's actually 3 projects on Colorado Avenue, 2 that are PPRTA listed, and then a federal project. But essentially, the overall project area is from Limit Street to 31st Street. We are going to be doing a demonstration projects that puts in place what came out of the Midland corridor study. So that really goes from Limit Street to about 19th to 21st Street, somewhere in there as we start to transition in that area. And then we'll have a demonstration project, a further demonstration project that really focuses on that old Colorado City area, which was not just that lane configuration from a 4-lane to a 3-lane section. It also shows bumps up, bump outs to be able to provide narrower crossings, and changes the parking configuration to represent still the same amount of parking, but pulls it out further in the roadway to demonstrate where the future streetscape improvements would happen. And those streetscape improvements are anticipated in the old Colorado City area. So we're doing the demonstration project, but we're also kicking off a very extensive public engagement process as well. So we've also started having meetings with several key stakeholders along the corridor. In fact, several of them have already happened. They're continuing in next week. And then we'll also have more general public engagement activities. And our first one is actually anticipated during Territory Days.
Yeah, and that was a good lead into my second question was I've been gone and looked at the newspaper every day, but there was initially when this was proposed and got out into the public, a lot of opposition to narrowing Colorado Avenue. And so how are some of those feedbacks coming, or maybe if Donald's not appropriate, can you give us some?
Well, I'd just be Henry. So we've actually heard more positive than negative, but I do to understand that with the exception of potentially featuring old Colorado City, the pavement section is not changing. It's going to be striping changes to really configure that out. And the intent is really to reduce crashes and improve it, and at the same time, maintain appropriate operations through the corridor.
Yeah, there has been a lot of speeding down there.
It's a lot of speeding and a lot of crashes. And so this kind of reconfiguration from a 4-lane to 3-lane, historically, when you look at this across the country, they have show a 29% decrease in crashes. So that has to, the crash and safety has to be balanced with the operations at our intersections.
Right.
And then trying to get more streetscaping improvements in the old Colorado City area.
Right.
Mr. Chair,
Those sidewalks being wider would be nice.
And it looks like I see a.
yes, Mr. Chair, Carl Sting has his hand up.
Go ahead, Carl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Gail, for bringing the Colorado Avenue improvement projects to us. These are much needed. One quick comment, having participated in the Midland Corridor public meetings, my experience attending those meetings is there was very strong support for all of the improvements to improve safety. And so I'm very happy to see that happening finally. So my question on the flashing beacons for the pedestrian crossings, is there any chance that long-term those could be upgraded to hawk signals? Because the flashing beacons are really kind of a beg button, right? And begging people to stop. Whereas at least the hawk, it's really a formal stoplight on demand that requires legally, people to stop for pedestrians and users of the crosswalks. So curious if you could comment on that, please. Thank you.
Stand by here. I have to tell you, I think this is going to be determined. I do know on the overall quarter, the bigger picture of the plan, that we would like to have some kind of signalized crossing or crossing that's identified every 2 blocks, essentially from Limit Street into the old Colorado City area. So we will have signalized intersections at Limit, 15th and 21st. These are really supplement or augmenting those. So likely the answer is no, but I could ask the project team with that and confirm that.
Okay, much appreciated. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to move on to contract 6. This is for bridge maintenance activities, the Water Street Bridge over Camp Creek. This is located just to the west of 31st Street. and Water Street area. There is a map included in your packet. This is for construction activities. This bridge is in desperate need of replacement, so we're going to be doing that. And at the same time, there's a significant water line that needs to be replaced underneath that as well. So, and the city did go and obtain some grant money to be able to facilitate this bridge project. So the total amount for construction activities that what did go through an IFB process where we had 5 respondents and Wildcat was the lowest bidder is a total of $3,586,353.66. The PPRTA portion that would be coming out of the PPRTA 2 Emergency Bridge Fund is $493,513.16 or 66 cents. The rest is grant funds or funds coming from Colorado Springs Utilities.
Gail, and this is Barb Winter. This is different than the project a little further up.
There is going to be another project at 31st and Fontanero Street that would be further to the south. It is not under construction.
And we have another sidewalk crossway
That was
right
that pedestrian crossing right in front of the
Pikes
school.
Peak. Oh, you're talking at
on 31st
Hobart? No,
Yeah,
what's the name of that?
by the school
Oh.
there,
Hobart? Is that the name of the school? Yes, this is different.
but similar.
The bridge that was there by that elementary school was actually a pedestrian bridge that went over Camp Creek there closer to the school. That was a little bit further south from where this is located.
Thank you.
So is the school on that corner of Water and 31st?
Yes, it's to the south.
So this is the road that connects 31st to the bridge there. It goes over right there.
Yes,
The pedestrian bridge was just south of that.
yes, that's correct.
Right. So is there any long-term, now that they built that retention pond up on the north end, the other side of, is there any intention or plan long-term to get rid of that drainage ditch that goes there? Because when I ride through there, it's a mixture of good concrete, bad concrete, dirt, weeds, and that stuff. And so I was just curious what's the long-range plan?
If I recall correctly, is to put that all into an earthen channel in the future and removing that concrete as much as they possibly can. But that's a long-term project. It's a lot of other things that are higher in priority.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But that was contemplated. There was a Camp Creek study that was done that really looked, and that the pond closer to Garden of the Gods was a portion of that. And they looked at Camp Creek all the way down into Fountain Creek. So there's longer term plans in there. It looked at the transportation crossings, but we're addressing a couple, the channel itself and the hydrology on the channel, and how it connects. And there's also trail connections that go through that as well. So it was looked at pretty comprehensively. I think that study was done in 19, if I remember correctly.
Right, yeah. Done
So
well.
bigger picture, but we're focusing on the transportation sides of it right now.
Sure, and that pond was a big improvement. It took those people off of flood insurance, and that was a big deal to control the flow coming down through there. But anyway, okay, thank you. Okay,
Well,
Mr.
and I
Chair.
would just share that we've heard from the school that the majority of the students that are crossing that street are now using that new pedestrian bridge,
Oh,
whereas
good.
before it was kind of all over the place. So,
Good. And
All right,
Mr.
thank
Chair, if
you.
I may, Mr. Gooding has his hand raised.
Go ahead, Greg.
All right, thank you. I was looking at the timeline for this project, construction, November 2026 to February 2027, 4 months at the most in the winter, next winter. Does that feel like a comfortable timeline for the construction?
yes, given the nature of the project and the work, we had to have this very time very carefully with winter water activities that are going on and what's going on in this part of the city with Colorado Springs Utility. So it's been sequenced with them to do the water line work. And then we are going to be doing an arch structure to be able to go into place. So yes, we are comfortable with that work. We are also sequencing with it with another project that's further south on Camp Creek at Fountain Two, or sorry,
Right.
Fontanero. So we don't have both of those close at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gail.
It's a critical crossing, but small. All right. All right, I'm gonna move on to contract number 7. This is another bridge maintenance project. This is for the Nevada Avenue and the Tejon Street bridges that go over Fountain Creek. These sit just north of I-25, so they were not part of the project when we did the I-25 improvements. But these bridges need bridge maintenance in both the north and southbound direction. So this is for an engineering contract with RS&H to be able to help us get that design work pulled together to get those projects out for bid for the bridge maintenance activities. And there is a map included in your packet for that one. Contract number 8 is a task order for pre-overlay concrete for 2 particular segments that goes to ICS Colorado in a not to exceed value of $315,000. Contract number 9 is a task order for milling and overlaying some segments that are in proximity to the UCCS. There is a map included in your packet that shows these 3 segments, and they is in a not to exceed value of $589,830 to elite surface infrastructure. And then contract.
Yeah, and just a clarification on my slow brain. So when I looked at that, it seems like I remember when they cut that path and threw that ride on Clyde Boulevard around and so that it didn't go back into that neighborhood back there behind UCCS. Is UCCS paying any of this, or is this all city property and city road?
This is all city right away.
Okay,
So yeah, we have the responsibility
Okay.
for maintenance.
thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
But we do a combination of PPRTA, mill and overlay, and 2C overlay all the time. Yeah, you just have a see us talk about 2C because it's just supplements what we need for maintenance for roadways using PPRTA funds. All right, city's 10th contract is to get authorization of up to $750,000 to buy 2 specialized pieces of equipment. These are pothole repair trucks. This is an allowable purchase underneath policy 24. And this is to replace 2 pieces of equipment that had previously been used for PPRT funds about 20 years ago. It's not crazy to think about, but it's really meant to help us get some state-of-the-art equipment, help us keep equipment running. Our utilization on some of the older equipment right now is poor just based on its age. So this contract number 10. And then for your information, contract 11 is to purchase 9 35-foot hybrid buses. The local match piece of this will come from PPRTA 3 capital funds underneath the transit fleet supplement, and the rest will come from 2 different sources of federal funding. So the total purchase would be $9,181,053, and the PPRTA portion is $1,968,776. Any other additional questions on our contracts?
I just have a quick clarification on these buses. I got a little confused, which isn't hard for me to do. The difference between the diesel hybrid and the all electric.
Okay,
Okay, are we buying some all electric and some hybrid, or are we buying?
so we have been buying mostly hybrid or diesel. We had our demonstration project or a pilot project for battery electric buses that did not go well. So we've been buying more hybrids.
Good. So we're buying hybrid.
These are hybrids, yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Any other
All right.
questions?
Any other questions for Gail on the city's projects? Okay,
I'm-
go ahead, Barb.
Oh, I was just gonna say I move for approval.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second? Thanks, Rick. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any. Okay, approval passed. Thank you. Thanks, Gail. All right, item 6B, El Paso County. Josh.
Good afternoon, Josh Palmer, County Engineer. County has 4 contracts to present to you today. The first 2 are directly related, so I'll go through both of those kind of simultaneously. The county is looking to reduce the construction contract amount for SEMA construction on the South Academy Boulevard widening project by $215,111, and in turn add to the construction management budget for Wilson and Company by the same amount, $215,111, again for the Academy Boulevard widening project. Something you are always happy to hear is that project is slightly under budget. So we were looking for any opportunity to make additional improvements. Initially, we had identified replacing some of the bridge pedestals. They're not failing, it's not a safety issue, but we saw this as an opportunity to replace something that would eventually need to be replaced again, maybe 10, 15 plus years from now. But while we were in there, we could get some value added and replace them while we had a contractor in place. Unfortunately, the contractor, because it was such a small dollar amount, for whatever reason, couldn't get insurance coverage for this additional work. So they declined to do the work. So we removed that money that was added to their budget, which was part of the previously approved CMO, in the amount of $881,000. That was the cost to replace those pedestals. So we removed that from their budget, took a portion of that, the $215,111, and added that to the CM budget for Wilson and Company. So there is a $0 change to the overall project amount. It's just moving money from one item, one task to the other. The third is both of those contract items were for PPRTA 2 projects, A-list projects. The third one is a PPRTA 3 project run through the Safety and Multimodal Programs Fund, and it's a contract to Lighthouse Transportation Group for the Furrow Road project in the amount of $225,000. I believe it was last month we received approval to install some modular traffic circles along Furrow Roads. This is between Highway 105, essentially Highway 105 and Higbee, but it's really that north portion. As you can see the map, 2 traffic circles are being installed in-house. We purchased the materials, we're installing those in-house. This contract is to add lighting to each of those traffic circles. The fourth contract that we have is for a Mesa Ridge Parkway project. Again, this is a PPRTA 2 A-list project. It is a purchase order for property acquisition. It's a right-of-way acquisition and 2 temporary easements on the south side of Mesa Ridge Parkway. You can see there the acquisition, the right-of-way acquisition is in red, and the green are the limits of the temporary easements that we need. The bulk of the right-of-way acquisition is to construct a pond that's necessary. As we're doubling the capacity of Mesa Ridge Parkway between Mark Sheffel and Powers. During appraisals and negotiations with the property owner, we're pretty far apart on the valuations between our consulted property acquisition specialist and their appraiser. So while we were continuing to work through negotiations, we received a possession and use agreement. So this essentially says the property owner doesn't object to the project. What they object to currently is the valuation of that property, but it allows us to get in and start the project. And as you are aware, there's no more revenue coming in for PPRTA 2. So the longer we wait to construct, the more difficult it is to construct a project. Prices, resources, labor only go up. So we would like to get the project started. We're pretty confident that we can come to agreeable terms. However, because the possession and use states the best and final offer, we presented $144,605. While we are not planning to spend that dollar amount yet, that is the presented dollar amount that the property owner has signed on the possession and use agreement. So hopefully we come back in a couple months and say we want to approve the actual dollar amount and the payment for this acquisition. What is more likely to happen is we come back and maybe ask for a little bit more money, but because this dollar amount is specifically stated on the approved possession and use agreement, we thought it appropriate to bring before the board today because that is the minimum dollar amount that would be approved. So those are the probably more information that you needed. All that information is in your packet, maps, but I'm willing to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Josh on the county projects? Okay, I have a motion to approve the county projects as presented.
Larry Tobias, I move to
Do I have a second?
second, Richard Zamora.
All right, Richard, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, great. Thanks, Josh. I want to catch you right after and ask about those modular things. Read last month and it was kind of sounded interesting.
Sure, I'm pretty fast getting out the door though, so.
And move quick, yeah. Item 6C, Manitou Springs. Karen, I understand you're online and I see you there.
Yes, yeah, I'm kind of sick today, so I thought it'd be better if I just did this remotely. The city Manitou Springs and Ben Schmidt isn't able to make it either, so it's just me today, and we're city Manitou Springs is requesting $466,000 for a contract with Trax Construction. And it's for the PPRTA maintenance 2026 paving projects. And the map is shown there for where the work would be performed. The main thing too is I showed the budget is $466,000, but the city does have up to $500,000 of maintenance funds available for the project. So in addition to the contract amount that we're requesting, we will have additional funds for materials testing and other services.
Yeah, I think that the explanation of the 366 on the front and the 466 on the thing, just make sure you mention that at the board.
Okay, and I can get that corrected and resubmitted to Rick before it goes to the board.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful unless there's a logical reason. It needs to be different. So thanks. All right, any other questions for Karen on Manitou? Barb?
I don't know if I have to recuse myself. My neighborhood street is on this list. So I want you to vote favorably.
No, bribing the board. I get it. Okay. All those in favor of approving Manitou's request for paving for the year, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, that's right. Well, that's afterwards off the mic, yeah. All right, very good. And no other member governments have anything? Any last minute changes, Rick? Okay. All right, item number 7A, member governments, other projects, transit.
Good afternoon, Chair. This is Lan Rao, Transit Division Manager for Mountain Metro Transit. I'm presenting today online. Apologies for doing this online. We have included the ridership information for March 2026 in the report. And under the transit highlights section, we included 2 items. The first one is, if you recall back in November 25, I shared some news that we created a new program with the housing department at the city, providing cold weather transportation for people experiencing homeless. So it has been a few months, although there's a storm today, but we were able to gather some information and share this with the CAC today. So during this winter, a few months, we have provided 626 trips across 21 declared severe weather days. So the Housing and Homeless Response Department gets to declare and contact us, and we would coordinate with our contractors and frontline operators to make it happen. So far, all parties are very pleased with this agreement. It truly is a win-win situation that um, the housing and OEM are able to provide this more proactive response in anticipation of cold weather, and we could transport people to where they need to go before the cold front hits. And then for transit, we do not have to look for volunteer drivers at night after business hours and sending out extra vehicles looking for individuals stranded in cold weather. So we're very happy with the result, and there are additional extension options with this agreement that we do plan to exercise. The second item we included in the report is the summer hall pass. We have not been able to, we have not really needed to offer this program in the last few years because we received the zero fare for better air grant in the last few years during the summer months. This year we do not. There is no more state funding for that program, so there is no system-wide, community-wide zero fare program this year. So instead, what we offer, and this is something that we used to offer for kids from 6 to 18, they can buy a summer hall pass and they can use it from June 1st all the way to August 31st for unlimited rides on transit buses. So that's my update for today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Lan? I got one. So what happens when we have a real winter? I mean, a few days below freezing isn't really a winter. So what happens? Do you anticipate that you've got enough experience now with this new program that you could adapt to it would work out for a really cold winter more than a couple of days, once or twice during the winter?
I believe so. The housing department will make that call, but there are it's a pretty robust coordination effort between OEM and all the partner agencies. A lot of coordination happening before the cold weather hits the region, and it's a little planning ahead that does need to happen. But so far, we're not experiencing any capacity issue on the transit side, and the cost is under control from what we could see. So I think there are a lot of interest to continue this program.
Any public pushback from this program beyond the homeless community itself?
We have heard some concerns through our customer service line, but not more than what we normally receive.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions for Lan? All right. Thank you, Lan. Appreciate it. Okay. Item 7B, City of Colorado Springs change order and property acquisition report. Any questions for Gail, the city?
Mr. Chair, if I can, I just want to verbally make one correction. On the change order log, the line item that's 7 from the bottom for the Brookside Drive replacement, I do need to make a correction on the account number. It should have ended in 38 as opposed to 28, to show that those costs go to the intersection improvements program. Otherwise, that's it. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any other questions for Gail on the change order? All right, very good. Thank you, Gail. City of Colorado Springs Powers North reimbursement update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we've been doing most often it's giving you an update on where we are on the reimbursement of costs for Powers Boulevard. Underneath this agreement, there was an additional invoice of just over 1.3 million. Of that, the end result is just under 1.1 million towards PPRTA reimbursement. I'm bringing our total to $22.5 million reimbursement. But more importantly, I'd like to give you an update on where we are just with the construction with the project, in case you're curious. So we've been working on releasing multiple phases for construction as we finish the main line engineering effort. So the water line relocation at Flying Horse Club Drive and at Ridgeline Drive is under construction right now. It's looking really good. And then Kramer North America, who was selected to do the local bridge work, started their efforts this week, and I saw them on site yesterday doing some work. So you will see more and more activities happening there all the way along. And we are continuing to coordinate our environmental clearances, our state and federal approvals to tie into the interstate system, and the final mainline design efforts. So just wanted to give you a high level update, but happy to answer any other questions.
I noticed that Blair may have experienced the same thing. There was just some, so the question is, good, that you're going so far. How is the traffic flow issues around that water line and the bridge and that kind of any?
Been perfectly fine.
Okay,
I mean, and I can tell you this, I physically live right there. So they've had Ridgeline closed twice for short periods. And it will stay open now probably till around the 1st of June. So continue to communicate that, but there's lots of other ways to get around the neighborhood. And then when they'll be putting a bypass in on Flying Horse Club Drive. So there will always be a line in each direction coming from Highway 83 into Flying Horse neighborhood.
yeah, there were just some questions and concerns, no pushback, but just, how's this gonna work?
Yeah. So far it's been going really well.
Right. Well, if you have any problems, call the city.
Okay. I'll just get on the website. I'm signing up for text alerts, by the way.
Use Connect COS. Go ahead, Larry.
I'd like to just back up a minute, Gail. Age on real estate service.
Okay.
Can you explain what we're looking at here?
Yes.
Looks like-
So, yeah, let me explain this. So, it's taking a little bit bigger step back. These are all related to Powers Boulevard. When the Flying Horse neighborhood annexed into the city, they had to dedicate right-of-way and easements for Powers Boulevard. But it was not exactly clear on the timing of what happened, and they did not have to turn over the property until we were ready to go to construction. These are all the different pieces and parts of parcels we needed right-of-way or easements on to be able to do the work just with the water line and the local bridges right now. And when they turn this over to us, it is at no cost. That's why you see so many line items listed as gifts. Does that make sense? Answer your question?
Yeah.
You'll see it again in the
I
future.
had the same questions.
We see some more of these in.
You will. When we get closer to mainline construction, you'll see more gifts. And you'll see a couple that might have costs associated with as well, but most of them will be gifts.
Mainly because they were set aside as part of the annexation.
Right. And even as they sold off parcels in some areas, there are easements that have to be dedicated. So these are all for this project. So I was just looking to see, some of these might have come actually from the Metropolitan District. No, it looks like these all came from Classic, but we had some that were gifts previously from the Metropolitan District, who owns a lot of property out there as well. A lot of times I take the gifts off, honestly, just because there's no PPRTA monies expended, but that was always on the log. And I thought it was important to show that just all the things that are happening with Powers kind of behind the scenes.
That's great.
Well, you're correct, because it is all part of the project, so, it should be included as you've done it. All right, thank you.
Thanks. Yes.
All right, 7D, Josh, monthly change order for the county. Any questions for Josh on the county's report?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Josh, got a couple questions. concerning the property acquisition report. The column county appraised value for 2 projects, and then also the owner appraised value, and then the final settlement value. Have the values actually been paid and settled with the county amounts, or the higher owner appraised values, are they still outstanding and will have to be negotiated in the future?
No, these ones shown here, that final settlement value is what we paid. So what we show here is what we appraised the property at, what the owner's appraisal came in, and then what we ultimately paid. Ironically, in these 2 instances, the final settlement was consistent with our appraised value. I believe in previous ones, you may see administrative fees or some concessions that are paid, compromises that are made. In these 2 instances, we paid what our appraisal said they were worth. But that final settlement value that you see on this report is what the county paid for that property.
So there won't be anything as far as the owners coming back and asking for any more in the future than on these 2.
I'm not saying they can't. There's no legal reason to pay them anymore, but generally I would say no. They have agreed to a certain dollar amount, and that's what we paid. We've acquired the property.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions for Josh in the county's acquisition report? Okay, not seeing any. Thank you. We'll move on to administrative actions and reports. 8A, report of recent board actions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My summary is in the agenda packet. Be glad to take any questions.
All right.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if could get a little explanation on the operation of the activity up at the State House
Legislative.
legislative. And can you explain what that bill is that we got? What the bill consisted of?
Land, well, let me first say that, and then maybe I can punt to land, say what's in the bill, but what the board asked for is that there be an amendment, which in discussions with our board lobbyist at the state legislature, he confirmed yesterday that the board's amendment is still in the bill as it's making its way through. The amendment would exclude funding agencies like PPRTA, which fund transit but don't operate a transit operation. So the amendment that's in the bill excludes funding agencies like us from the requirements. Lan, are you still on, and can you summarize the requirements?
Yes, hi Rick. So this bill has, there have been a few rounds of amendments introduced after it was initially introduced. The initial bill would require transit to offer free fare and half fare for certain groups, and that has been since amended out. The latest development on the bill is it will remove a lot of the reporting requirements on medium-sized agencies, including Mountain Metro Transit, to be something more in line with the federal reporting requirement, even if there are duplicate efforts, but it is something a lot more manageable for us.
I think the summary is that it's called a transit equity is the title, and it had a lot of reporting requirements which could apply to transit agencies like Mountain Metro Transit, and potentially could be expanded to governmental agencies which fund transit agencies like ourselves. So that's why the board asked for the amendment to exclude funding agencies that provide money to a transit agency but don't operate the transit agency.
Kind of distinguishing us from Roaring Forks and those other RTAs.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions on the report for board actions? All right, great. Rick, revision of PAC bylaws.
As the CAC members are aware, since day one, the 3 city members on the PPRTA CAC had to come from the city's CTAB, the Community Transportation Advisory Board, or Citizen Transportation Advisory Board. And then just recently, March 24, the city council dissolved CTAB. So now the bylaws need to be amended to delete the mention of CTAB, but replace that with the city council appoints the 3 city reps on the PPRTA CAC and instead of being from CTAB. So the blue line, red line, blue line version is in your packet showing that CTAB is struck and adding city council is doing the appointing. So we're asking for the CAC to approve a positive recommendation to the board for this amendment to the CAC bylaws. And as you recall, the board approves the CAC bylaws and any revisions.
Any questions by anyone? Oh, go ahead, Gail.
I just wanted to add, Mr. Chair, that Colorado Springs is actively moving forward with the city council to make appointments, and we're hoping to have replacement CAC members in June at the June CAC meeting, assuming this gets a favorable nod from you and the board.
Great, thank you. Any questions on the change of the bylaws related to removal of the appointment to the CTAB?
I move for approval of the revision.
Thank you, Barb. In a second.
And David Zelenak, I'll second that.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Any other further comments or questions? All those in favor of approving the change to the bylaw, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Not hearing any, motion passes. We'll make the recommendation. All right, that's item 9, agenda topics for next meeting. Anybody got any hot burning items they need to bring up? Not seeing any hands raised and nobody in the room. Okay. 10, communications. Sorry. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I just wanted to mention that there is going to be a public meeting next Tuesday, May 12th at Patriot High School. This is about from 4 to 6 p.m. So Patriot High School's out there off of Swing Line in Falcon, south side of 24. This is for the joint CDOT and El Paso County project, specifically the US 24 and Judge Orr intersection. Information about the project, timeline, ultimate reconfiguration of US 24 and Judge Orr, as well as the realignment and access configuration for county roads off of Blue Hill. So it's next Tuesday, Patriot High School from 4 to 6 p.m.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to say, sorry I missed last week, but last month, but we were helping gas prices. Helping spend their retirement because I don't want to give it to the kids. So, but anyway, I appreciate all the work Larry did and the great minutes. It seems like some good discussions. So, do I have a motion to adjourn? I'll move. Rick Hoover, second. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Good.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Appreciate your time. Travel
Thank you.
safe.
Thank you.
Showing it either.